On set is really just data input now. I mean, it's really, they're just capturing something so that we can do something with it in post. And that's a kind of a different paradigm for movie making in general. And it's just going to get worse. If you think it's bad now, it's going to get worse, or better if you like that way of storytelling, because it's really more about capturing the pieces and parts that you need for assembly later in a situation where you don't have as many limitations and where you don't have to make as many compromises to tell your story. So was the problem. You get these big cameras and all this stuff, and you had to create the story right there, or it didn't exist. Now we can do all sorts of things, and it's getting better and better. There's extremes on that, and there's things where that's not good. Situations where they've gone too far or not made it realistic enough. But I think that if you, just like anything else, if you notice the effects, you're doing it wrong. It always needs to support the story. And I think that mantra that I took from VFX also plays very well into 3D. Because my opinion is, if you notice the 3D, you're doing it wrong. People will watch a 3D movie and they're like, yeah, after like the first couple scenes, I forgot I was watching a 3D movie. And it's like, well, that's kind of what we're trying to do here. Like, we're not wanting to call attention to the 3D. Rather than you notice the 3D, or rather than the viewer noticing the 3D, what we would rather have is the viewer watch it in 3D and then see it again sometime in 2D and go, wow, there's something really missing here. I don't like this flat version. The one I watched the first time was much better. Our job on set is always to support the story. I mean, everything should be about us as creatives, all of the people in all the different departments coming together to create a symphony that is the story. And you don't have a symphony by any one instrument standing out all the time. That's just not how it works. Everybody gets their moment to shine, but at the same time, it's all about working together. And unfortunately, that's not how 3D movies are sold. 3D movies are sold by like circling the one instrument out of the orchestra and saying, look, this is what the movie's all about. And we didn't do that on set. That's the reality of it. So it's kind of a frustrating thing in a lot of ways, just the way that the movies are being marketed. I think there's a growing movement in certain categories of films to kind of not so much downplay the 3D, but to just not make so much of a big deal out of it. Okay, yeah, we've got this great movie. Here's what the movie's about. Oh, and by the way, you can see it in 3D too in certain theaters. Like not really making a big deal about it, not saying, wow, look at the 3D. It's like, it's more about the story, like it should be. So I think we're getting to the point now where the 3D isn't so much of a wow thing from a marketing standpoint. And I think that serves the films better, because we're making the films definitely deeper these days than there was a period of time where they were kind of flatter. But at the same time, I think there's not as much expectation put on the 3D now. It's more like it's supposed to be part of the scene. It's just like, nobody goes and says, hey, did you see that new color movie that just came out last week? Like, why would you do that? Because all the movies are in color. So like the idea is that you're not going to like think a movie is better or worse just because of its color work. Although you can appreciate the color work and that it was done well, it just adds to your experience of the movie. It is not the movie by itself, and neither is 3D.